Friends, world literature is the most important part of NET JRF exams. Do you know that the world literature concept actually came from the German ideology, German literature? And when you prepare for world literature, how many of you have actually prepared German writers in detail? So guys, this is VINEET Pandey, and in this video we are going to talk about German literature. I want to tell you something very important about German literature, that there are certain most important writers you actually have to prepare for German literature. Then remember that there is a concept of epic theater and concept of Holocaust. Along with this, the concept of fate theater and Sturm and Drang philosophy. Now, before we start all these things, I want to tell you this, that English Romantic movement, where a lot of books, lot of writers, lot of teachers will tell you was heavily inspired by French Revolution. I want to add something different. Yes friends, this romantic movement of English literature was actually inspired by German philosophy, Sturm and Drang philosophy. No doubt, it also has influence of the French Revolution of 1789, but Sturm and Drang philosophy was the first philosophical attempt to find the relation between the man and nature. So finding a relation between the man and nature in a philosophical way. This was the first philosophy developed by the Germans, known as Sturm and Drang. Remember, St. Coleridge, the famous writer of Kubla Khan and Christabel and Rime of Ancient Mariner, St. Coleridge himself was inspired by German idealism. So when you study German literature, what are the most important concepts and who are the most important writers you must read? Now, the must-read writer number 1, Thomas Mann, M-A-N-N. Make sure you remember him. He is a Nobel Awardee writer of 1929, and then he is the famous writer of Death in Venice, one of the most important work. Then don't forget the famous work where a hero, Hans Kestrop, goes to a hospital in the mountain where the book is called The Magic Mountain. It's very important work. Along with these, he has also written the modern retelling of Dr. Faustus, with the spelling as D-O-K-T-O-R. You can also go for his famous work Buddenbrook. So in short, do not forget Thomas Mann. Next writer we have is French Kafka. French Kafka's Metamorphosis, The Trial, The Castle are very important, and 99% people, those who prepare German literature, have no idea about Kafkaesque. What is called Kafkaesque? If you have idea about this, please write in the comments. Then go for Bertolt Brecht. Bertolt Brecht is a writer who actually practiced this epic theater concept and made it famous. A lot of students who are preparing for NET JRF but are actually using market guidebooks and do not have any guide who comes from university standards. They have no idea about epic theater. All they do is they just read Bertolt Brecht's book and they simply go for the NET exam thinking that we have read a writer and a book. You must understand the concept of epic theater, which was coined by Erwin Piscator. This concept, it's something very easy, which is related to alienation of the audience. In one of my video, I'll be explaining it in a proper way. I suggest you read Bertolt Brecht, is very important writer. Do not forget his famous work Mother Courage and His Children, and also remember The Good Women of Sichuan. They are most important works. Please read these things. Then you go for Hermann Hesse. Hermann Hesse is also a Nobel Awardee of 1946. His famous work of 1922 Siddharth deals with the life of Govind, who is finding the actual messages, actual preachings of Lord Buddha. This work is actually based on reference of Edwin Arnold's Light in Asia. Then don't forget to go for John Wolfgang Goethe. Goethe's modern retelling of Faust myth. It's an important thing. It has been asked in NET exam. The opening scene is set in heaven, where Mephistopheles has a bet with God to corrupt human being. Along with these things in German writers, people when they study German literature, they hardly go for Holocaust. Remember, Holocaust, something this is related to Nazi concentration camp. Here you have to remember the most important writer, William Styron. If you don't know what is Holocaust, if you don't know what is fate theater, if you never ever heard Sturm and Drang philosophy, but you are in a coaching class or you are under someone's guidance, then trust me, this is the time to question the guidance. Along with this, I want to suggest to you that German literature, Russian, French, Italian, Canadian, Australian, African, Afro-American, then purely American writers, and then the random writers, the bestseller writers coming from all the world. They are all the basic writers for NET exam. If you haven't been taught, talk to your teachers, ask your teachers that why you haven't taught us this for NET exam. This is very important. The biggest problem of Indian education, especially NET JRF English, is the teachers teach students about British history and fulfill their duties saying that this is the only important thing in NET JRF. British history is very important, but it covers only 30% of net paper, net pattern, net system. So remember, even if you are damn good in British history, you have mugged up British history, you are going to attempt only 30% questions. Now remaining 40% things, the latest syllabus and the other things, remaining the 20 to 80%, 30% things, all you have to do is go through various guidebooks, various market books, and you will find out that none of the books has explained epic theatre. I bet you hardly will find somewhere that fate theatre has been explained, and if you do not read Coleridge and the Romanticism in detail, you will never be able to relate the relation of the Germans and the Romanticism. Remember, Goethe, he himself said that Romanticism is a disease, classicism is health. In fact, there was a famous quote that close thy Byron, open thy Goethe. So this kind of relation, you must understand what is the relation of Germans, Romanticism and the literature. Do not forget that Holocaust is very, very important. When you read Thomas Neely, a famous writer who has written Schindler's Ark, if you haven't heard this, you are prepared for NET. Trust me, you need to go for change. So this is a work which deals with Holocaust, the survivors, the traumas, tortures. This is all important thing related to Germans. So make sure you read all those things. Do not go for any market guidebook or any so-called incompetent teacher who has not taught all these things to you. In fact, I have seen that some teacher is uploading videos on the name of cultural studies, but is not even talking about culture studies. So there are two point of views. The first point of view, as I am a teacher concerned about the students' future, I actually wondered that this is the real standard of Indian English education, that not even anybody has no idea about culture studies. And as a student, I'm thinking, I watched that video of culture studies by that teacher. Maybe I thought that I can learn something, and I found that the man was simply talking about structuralism. Structuralism is not related to culture studies. If this is culture studies, structuralism can be the very first basic thing which can be related. And I went through the complete video thinking that maybe he is going to relate it somewhere. So all I want to say is, please do not get befooled by people, those who are using the keywords of culture studies or translation theories or latest things. Use your brain, use your knowledge. June attempt is something very crucial, because after June attempt, when you go for December attempt, a very fresh crowd of the students, those who have qualified post-graduation exam, this will also add the crowd to compete you. All I want to say is that if somewhere you are scared, somewhere you are actually concerned about your future, I suggest you be the part of my batches, because at least you will be very sure that this man has taught in the University of Delhi. Have you ever thought that I am the only NET expert who has the experience of teaching in University of Delhi? Double JRF of my own, 6 NET, and even recently I just circulated my Maharashtra set marks. I was having 87, 89 or 81% around. So do you think that this man who has done all those records has no idea about the pattern? This is my passion, this is my field, and I'm actually concerned about you. I'm caring about you. Do not waste your time because of someone who has no idea about the paper pattern. Make sure you read, revise. I have given you the evidences. I have asked you the name. Do you know this? Do you know that? I have asked you in this video. If you know that, you are prepared well. If you haven't heard those things, trust me, you're not going to compete any of my student, any of my online student. I suggest you start working very hard, and soon I'll be uploading a video how to divert or how to avoid the depression, frustration or distractions. Make sure you remember all those things. Whatever I have suggested you now, contact me on my famous number 85870358827. If you have something very special to convey, you can simply find me on Facebook with VINEET Pandey. Do an inbox, I'll be replying you there. May God bless you. Take care.
Thank you so much for watching us, and do subscribe and like our comments. Okay, thank you so much.